Hi, welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's Game of Thrones video on the latest updates on how many seasons there might be. So, I usually try to do about 3 videos a week because I have a long list of videos that I want to try to get through. So, I try to do one Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and today's Saturday. But I actually had dental surgery a few days ago, so I'm not really feeling up to sort of writing a huge script and editing together a video with all these pictures and music and everything. So since there's been some Game of Thrones news released, I thought I'd do another like video blog type video like I did with when we got the news of David Benioff saying that the Shireen thing was a spoiler and there was a controversy over that, so I did a video blog for that like this. So I thought I'd do something really simple for that for the latest news, which is HBO. I guess he's like the head of HBO or something, Michael Lombardo, said that there will be at least 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. He said that 7 was never the discussion, which is weird because that's what Dan and Dave were saying before season 5 aired. They said they were saying that they wanted to do 7, but he was saying that it's definitely going to be at least 8. That Dan and Dave definitely say they have 2 more years left in them. And so they haven't, like, there's no official contract or anything settled like that, but they were saying that's what they were looking at. They were looking at 8, and he was still saying that he would love to do more, but from what, every time Dan and Dave talk, they say that they don't want to do more. So, it's possible they could do 9, but I know Dan and Dave don't want to, and they specifically said repeatedly that they don't want to do 10, specifically saying we don't want to do 10 seasons of Game of Thrones. So I know it's definitely not going to be 10, so probably not 9. At least they'd probably try not to do 9. I was thinking for the longest time that it would be 7 and that they'd compromise and have an extended 7th season. In fact, some people were trying to find loopholes in his wording because Michael Lombardo said there's definitely 2 more years after season 6, and so they're trying to say, well, it could be a season 7 split in half like Breaking Bad, and that could go for technically 2 years, so maybe that's what he's talking about, but I don't think so. I think he's saying 8 seasons, and perhaps season 8 could be still be an extended version of like split in half like Breaking Bad type, so more than 10 episodes. However, some people have been saying maybe both season 7 and season 8 will be like that, but that's definitely not going to be the case because Dan Davis said before that they can't do any more than 10 episodes because George R. R. Martin keeps saying that he loved them to do more than 10 episodes a season because he wants them to cover more stuff in the books that they're cutting out, but they always counter with, we can't. We'd love to as well, but because of the type of quality that they want to make in this show, they're literally spending the entire year making this 10 episode season, and they couldn't possibly fit any more. But they could theoretically for a final season, because if it's a final season, they're not having to start the next season next year, so they could potentially do, instead of doing 10 episodes within 12 months, they could do, say, like 16 episodes within 18 months, since so they could do that for the last season, season 8, but they couldn't do it for season 7 if there's going to be a season 8, because they would have to start on season 8, unless they stretch it out over 3 years. They do season 7 and 8 over 3 years, but I don't think, they're not going to do that. So yeah, it's funny because when I did a prediction video of just over a year ago, I said that it was more likely aliens would land on Earth than we would only get 7 seasons in Game of Thrones. I said they would be at the very least 8. And I actually started to bend on that position a little bit after, because before season 4 aired, Dan and Dave were saying, 7 or 8. They kept saying 7 or 8, but they kept being misquoted as saying 7, so people were assuming it was 7. And I was like, no, they're saying 7 or 8. But when season 5 came around, they actually did start saying 7. And most recently, like right before season 5 aired, there was this thing where Michael Lombardo said he wanted 10, and they said that they wanted 7. So then, and plus, I saw how quickly they sped through the Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragon material. So I thought, okay, well, all right, maybe they could do it in 7, but even if they did do it in 7, even considering how fast they went through book 4 and 5, that still made me think if they're doing 7, they're going to speed through and they're going to cut out. They're going to continue going at this really accelerated rate where they're just cutting out shit right and left. So George has still got Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring left to write, and he said each would be about 1,500 pages. So it seemed to me that if they were going to get through that in 2 seasons, they'd have to just completely only hit the major beats and just like really fast track the entire story. So it's actually quite a good thing to hear that it's going to be 8 seasons. So they're not going to fast track as much, because you think about that. That means by the end of season 6, they would have had to set up for the very final showdown to happen in season 7. So that would have been really fast. And you're hearing news like they might be doing the Ironborn, the Kingsmoot storylines from Feast for Crows next season. So, and it had me wondering how they're going to go back and do some of this stuff if they had to speed forward to the ending. But now hearing that they're going to at least have 8 seasons makes me feel a bit better about the pace that they're going to be going, that they're going to have more time to cover stuff properly and not like just speed through it, which is what I was concerned about in the first place, which was why I had originally said definitely going to be at least 8, and apparently I should have stuck to my guns because I was right back then. So the other news is we get the typical Jon Snow Watch. I try not to make a video every week about this because it's pretty boring. There's nothing definitive. But then Michael Lombardo also said, I don't have the direct quote, but he says something like, Jon Snow is dead, dead is dead, dead, dead. He just kept saying dead over again. He's dead, dead, he's dead, 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 dead. Dead is dead. But I always hesitant when people say dead is dead on Game of Thrones. In fact, I heard a couple of comments saying, oh, it's Game of Thrones, dead is dead. I'm like, no, it's not. Beric Dondarrion, freaking Gregor Clegane, and freaking all the whites, the White Walkers bring back to life. That is definitely not dead in the show, specifically when it comes to followers of the Lord of Light, which Melisandre is, which Melisandre's happen to be in Jon Snow's vicinity. So I don't know about the dead argument is very shitty, and maybe like Michael Lombardo doesn't know. He's just saying, oh well, he's just going off of what he knows, and there's a lot of other actors who are saying that, but they probably don't know either. And of course, your spottings of Kit Harington. Now, when season 5 first finished airing, people were like, "Ooh, I spotted Kit Harington in Northern Ireland," but it didn't really matter because they hadn't even started filming yet. They didn't start filming until July. So at first I was like, "Yeah, that doesn't mean anything." But he spotted again in July, and he spotted again a few weeks after that. So he's coming back. It's not even like I've heard some other people trying to justify, to come up with all these lame excuses. Oh, maybe he's just visiting friends on the set, and he's maybe just there for a vacation. Maybe he has a cat that ran away to Ireland. You're just coming up with all these lame excuses, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to call bullshit on that. He is definitely filming for Game of Thrones. It's just don't even try to come up, well, maybe it's this. No, bullshit. Well, the one legitimate thing I've heard was for season 5, Charles Dance came at the exact same time just to do his funeral scenes. So that's a legitimate thing, saying, oh, Kit Harington's just there to play a dead body or maybe be in the flashback. Which would have been legitimate if he was just there for a couple days or a week or so, but he spotted a month later and then a couple weeks after that, and They said that he was at a table reading with Emily Clark. Why would he be at a table reading if he's just playing a dead body? I'm sorry. And, I'm not going to say much more about this because my brother Apkin Tomko did this video called Why Jon Snow is So Coming Back. And he covered that video. Is awesome. I recommend go watch that if you haven't seen it. He covered all the reasons. I don't know how anyone after watching that video could be. There's still people who are like, no, he's definitely not coming back. I don't understand how they could think that after watching that video. I think he pretty much nailed it. Just nailed it down. And he left out a few things as well, like what I like to talk about, because I did a video about the wacky adventures of Ollie and Alistair Thorne, which is a satire meant to highlight if Jon Snow doesn't come back, then we'll have no viewpoint characters at the wall. And there's no way they're going to do that. You could argue like Davos and Melisandre are there, but first off, they're not even that big, and secondly, they're not tethered to the wall the way a Night's Watch person were, because they're most likely going to fuck off elsewhere anyway. I don't really see Davos joining the Night's Watch. So, to me, it's not even a question. It's not. I mean, if Jon Snow doesn't come back, not only will I be surprised, I'll be pissed off, and they will have to work very hard for me to like season 6 if he doesn't come back. But honestly, I put the chances of that at like 5%, and I think even that's being generous. So enough of that. Just one other thing I wanted to talk about, which is Emmy nominations were announced, I think like a week ago or a couple of weeks ago, and it's quite predictable that Stephen Delaney didn't get a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Peter Dinklage got one. Because they call it Supporting Actor, but really I think he should get Best Actor, because I suppose they think all the roles in Game of Thrones are supporting, but really people like Tyrion and Cersei and, Macy Williams, people like that, I think those should be counted as main actor, actress, rather than supporting, but whatever. And it's because of that, they're going to go for the main guys. People like Stephen Delaney and Alfie Allen and other people, they're not even going to look at them because they don't consider them important enough, which is a shame, because I think, and judging by what I see a lot of other people online saying, a lot of people agree with me as well, that Stephen Delaney deserved Best Supporting Actor. A lot of people are saying that. Even people who hated the Stannis stuff, still, it's undeniable that he just fucking nailed that scene. He was such good acting. And, people were saying Carrie Ingram, I think her name is, who plays Shireen, that she deserved an award as well, because she just nailed it as well. And, I like the scene or hate it. Some people might hate the scene because the acting was so good. It was just too good, and it was so much more disturbing. But anyway, yeah, that kind of, it's not surprising, but it kind of pissed me off that he didn't get. And Peter Dinklage, I'm sorry, but he deserved to win last year. I know Aaron Paul is awesome. I love the last season of Breaking Bad was awesome, but it won Best Show, which it deserved. It won Best Actor, which it deserved. It won Best Actress, which it deserved. They could have given Best Supporting to Peter. I'm sorry. I know Aaron Paul was awesome, but Peter Dinklage, that performance at the trial in season 4 was one of the best performances ever on any medium, TV, movies, of all time. I'm sorry. You might think I'm being hyperbolic or whatever, but it's true. Aaron Paul is awesome. Any other year, I would say yes, give it to him, but not that year. Peter Dinklage so deserved it that year, but not this year. This year, he was good. He's always good, but he wasn't stand out like he was last year. And he won an Emmy for season 1, I think, and he wasn't stand out there either. He's good. He's always good, but season 4 was the year he deserved it. He nailed it. I don't really. This year, I think Jonathan Banks deserves it more than Peter Dinklage. Jonathan Banks, of course, plays Mike was on Breaking Bad, but now he's on Better Call Saul. And the performance they pulled off on Better Call Saul this year, especially in that episode where it was just him, it was all about Mike. that was awesome. He deserves it. I think he's going to win it, of course. You know, which he deserves to. But last year should have been Peter Dinklage, but whatever. But then we got supporting actress, and it's surprising that, well, Lena Headey was nominated. She says she's surprised, but I don't know why, because she's nominated almost every year. She was nominated last year, too. But Emily Clark is nominated as well, and I think this is the first time. I don't know if it's the first time ever, but she definitely wasn't nominated last year. And that actually surprised me. I think Stephen Delaney deserved it more than her as well. But, you know, she's all right. She's okay, I guess. Maybe she's better than some of these other supporting actresses nominated. I didn't see any of the shows. I can't remember them, but I remember not being very impressed. I remember thinking that Lena Headey, far and beyond. I mean, if Lena Headey, because last year with the Aaron Paul thing, even though I strongly disagree, I can kind of see where they're coming from. If Lena Headey doesn't win, that's going to be even a bigger tragedy. That's going to be a farce. It's going to be a flat out, like, just a joke. I'm going to piss on the fucking Emmys. It would be fucking ridiculous. These award shows are already stupid, but this would make it totally it's like Gladiator winning the Oscar for Best Picture ridiculous. It's just fucking, it would just be nuts. So yeah, Lena Headey by far. And yeah, she deserves recognition. I know award shows are bullshit, but she deserves something. You know, for that performance that she gave, not just the fucking Walk of Shame, which was, you know, amazing, the performance, even though people are like, oh, she had a body double. So what? It was still great, like, facial, the close-ups, really good performance. And not just the Walk of Shame, but when she was, like, you know, acting all smug, and when the High Sparrow, with that scene with Jonathan Pryce, where the High Sparrow threw her in the cell, and she was, like, starting to, like, smile, like she was starting to realize that what was happening. She's like, oh fuck, that was just so awesome. And plus the scene where she's fucking with Marjorie and they're just fucking with each other's heads, and you could tell, like, her mask was falling. You could tell how, you know, she was trying to act all nice and demure with Marjorie, but Marjorie was totally just fucking with her head, and that was played so well. So yeah, last year it was Peter Dinklage. This year it's fucking Lena Headey. So hopefully this time they actually put the award where it belongs. Well, and yeah, and it deserves best show this year. Last year I can see why they gave it to Breaking Bad, because that was the final season of Breaking Bad, like the final half of the season. Every episode was pure gold, so I get that. But this year, there's the competition. There's nothing. I mean, Better Call Saul was good, but it's not like final season of Breaking Bad, and I don't think it's Game of Thrones good. So yeah, I think it deserves. But I'm not going to be outraged if it doesn't win. I will be outraged if Lena Headey doesn't win. If she doesn't win, fuck the Emmys. Just fuck it. But anyway, so that's it for this quick little blog, my little babblings, ramblings. I'll be back in a few days with my normal videos. I was going to do a video on Star Wars today, but I just wasn't feeling up to it because of recovering from surgery. So I'll do that on next Thursday, and this Monday I'll do I'll start my quick review thing where I'm doing a review of a TV show that's currently airing, and giving a very quick review of what I think about it. So I'll do about 10 of those, and then we'll start that on Monday. So see you guys then. Thanks for watching.